case study involving Daily Harvest and Tive. Wesley Williams is Vice President of Supply Chain with Daily Harvest, and Raj Nagarajah is Director of Sales in the food vertical for Tive. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you very much for being with me today. Wesley, tell me about Daily Harvest. Who are you guys?
Yeah, we are a digitally native food manufacturer, CPG brand. We, primarily are selling fruits and vegetables, but all vegan, organic materials. You can find us both at our own website as a D2C, but we're omni-channel, omnipresent, and so you can also find us in almost 2,000 freezer doors across the country, primarily in Kroger and Target banners.
How long have you been in business?
The company's been in business for about 8 years now.
Cool. Okay, so what was the supply chain challenge that we're talking about today?
Yeah, so as we are looking to build supply chain resiliency, right, a big part of that for us within the cold chain is being able to have the confidence that our product is maintaining that frozen temperature that we require, right, for food safety perspective, from really just, again, the requirement of us being a frozen food brand. As we were growing and the company was expanding, as we were moving product around our network, we use a lot of third parties. We don't own our facilities. I don't own those trucks. And so we build process to put guardrails in place to allow us to have a high level of confidence that our partners are doing what we expect from a temperature perspective. But at the end of the day, we needed some additional measure to allow us to have a higher level of confidence that all of our partners in the supply chain are doing what they are supposed to be doing. So insert our partnership with Tive.
Well, tell me about that. Why Tive as
Yeah.
opposed to any other vendor that you might have used for this?
Yeah, so Tive was actually probably the fourth or fifth company that we had engaged with as we started down the exploration process. We really didn't know anything outside of, hey, we know this technology exists. We're familiar with the temp tail process, and we know what kind of information. We have a relatively high level understanding of what kind of information we know we need to be getting to be able to have that level of confidence we're looking for. And so as we were engaging with a couple different companies, right, all of them relatively had the same tech stack. They were able to offer us the same thing. As we met with Tive actually had some unique products and service lines that no one else that we had met with actually was able to offer to us at a lower cost point for us. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, it was between the cost point, the additional services that they were able to offer us, that technology, and then really the ease of which we were able to both implement and be able to access that information and visualize it in a way that was actually meaningful to us.
Raj, did you feel like this was in your wheelhouse? Is this a familiar type of initiative and engagement for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, logistics is hard, but when you talk about temp control, there's a whole nother layer to it. Managing something that's going to go into a human product, that's tough. And you want to make sure that you have the proper measures, like Wesley said, to ensure that that product is arriving, as fresh as possible, so there's no issues downstream. And when you talk about, supply chain like Daily Harvest is with multi-layers, inbound fresh procurement, raw procurement of goods, and then distributing it to a retail center, that's our wheelhouse, enabling visibility across an entire supply chain, but especially for a tech-forward growing brand, someone that could start easily, implement it quickly, and then look to a partner to help them scale it as they continue to grow. That's definitely our wheelhouse.
Okay, promising partnership then. But what was actually involved in the implementation of the solution? I mean, you're having to do this in the middle of operations. You can't shut everything down to do it.
No.
What was involved in that actual
Yeah, so a big part for us was actually building the process. Okay, how do we want to implement this product, right? Being able to then go back to, again, those third-party partnerships that we have and express to them, here's how process is changing. We are evolving our SOPs. We'll share that information with you. But let's start with you having a sound understanding of what the technology is, what our goal and objective for using the technology is, and here's how we need your involvement in the partnership for success. So that was step one. Step two for us was then being able to make sure that we had the technology to be able to actually scan and read we use two products with them, both their temp tails and then the Tive tag. The Tive tag is something that we are going to put on a case. It is a label in itself. It has, Raj could go into more details.
Yeah, tell me more about this. What is this Tive tag? What does it look like, and what was involved in applying it to Daily Harvest stuff?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, majority of our customers use our real-time device, which is what, majority of their tracking is with us.
Yeah.
But there are some applications where passive, retrieval of temperature logging data is applicable. And that's what they use a lot for their inbound stuff coming to their commands. And so there's been a success for them. They're getting the information they need. But, to the point about process, I'll give, Wesley's team kudos. He's got a team underneath him that really asked a lot of hard questions.
Yeah.
And they continue on a day-to-day to ask the questions to make sure that the process is working, but also improving.
Okay. So what were the benefits of the initiative?
Yeah, what we were able to determine from using the Tive tags and these temp loggers is that we actually don't need to focus as much time and effort or can have as much concern because our partners are doing what we expect them to do. They are meeting the standard at which we hope that they are holding the temperature that we hope that they are going to run that product at all given times. What a big benefit for us is, again, as we don't own these facilities, but they are ours. We have a partnership with a distribution center, and then I'm doing an intercompany transfer to another fulfillment center that I have a direct partnership with. But where I really start to lose the ability to control process is in my outbound distribution to retail. We are delivering into distribution centers either owned by our customers directly or into distributors like a UNFI or a KE. I have no relationship with those facilities. I can't build process with them. They're inbounding product from hundreds of thousands of different brands and customers, right? And so because of that, I really need to make sure that I have the information available to me to say, we have a high level of confidence that while that product is in transit to our end customer, that we are not going to deliver you anything where the temperature of that product has exceeded frozen, right? And so it's really a control measure for us. So how we really are leveraging Tive today is for all of our outbound distribution shipments. One of my transportation associates is tracking that information as a part of his process before every delivery to ensure that that product is maintained at that 0 to -10 range.
Right.
And if it doesn't, we stop that truck in transit. We call the customer, we say we have a problem and we are going to deliver you another shipment. It will be there tomorrow or whatever the time frame is.
Raj, what value do you feel you brought to Daily Harvest as a result of this initiative?
Yeah, I mean, tech allows proactive decision making. And so that example right there about sending something to retail, when we started, there wasn't as much retail. It was really more on the inbound side of things and then fulfilling. And as they expanded, using the tech in a different area of new business has helped them have those safety measures to ensure that that business is being treated properly. Our approach to it is, helping our customers actually use the data. There's so much data in transportation and logistics that's collected by devices like ours, but oftentimes it's unusable because it doesn't make sense. And so helping a team like theirs use it effectively and understand it easily is really where we come in. And as they continue to grow, they're going to implement systems like a TMS, like other ERPs, and our solution's native with API connections to help them bring that data into those systems. And that's really where we specialize.
So there's more to be done.
There's opportunity.
Great. Wesley Williams, Daily Harvest, Raj Nagarajah, thank you very much of Tive for telling your story about this particular initiative. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah.
That was a case study involving Daily Harvest and Tive. Thank you very much for watching.